Mark, how are you these days?
Yeah, thanks for asking. I'm fine. I'm really fine. I think we all went through a very outstanding and challenging phase within the last 15 months. Without clubs, without parties, without meeting too many people, without traveling. And now we are at a point of time where I'm quite optimistic that the worst part is over and that the world is in a better condition, let's say, in autumn.
Yes, I saw already some parties taking place in the UK last weekend. How is your planning?
No, I haven't planned any gigs yet because, of course, we have contact to our main partners. And the thing is, all over the world, I made a lot of friends with people who booked me during the last 10, 15 years. And the pandemic time was more for asking how are you than asking for when are you booking me or when are we doing our next party. I mean, we will all feel when the moment has come where we can make parties again, but for me it was much more important to ask people in Brazil, in Australia, in Bali, in Canada, how they are. And thank God everyone is fine.
Yeah, everyone seems to be fine.
Everyone seems to be fine, yeah, which is really good. And I personally, I couldn't play because the only time window where colleagues of mine could play was last summer, when a few parties in Poland, Switzerland and France were possible. But I broke my leg last June. And for me, it was a double lockdown. So
it's too bad.
Lockdown, yes. Lockdown, no. It didn't matter for me because I couldn't move.
but like many artists, if I look at the Instagram of some of the bigger artists, they seem to be in Tulum, like enjoying the best time of their life, playing these small gigs. Aren't you jealous?
No, I'm never jealous. I am who I am.
Yes.
And the time will come back. And I also don't accuse this if someone plays somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm not that kind of guy who says you don't do this, don't do that. No, but I'm not jealous. I'm happy for everyone who is happy.
Not even as a dancer, enjoying it on the dance floor. I'm a bit jealous.
Yeah, of course. When it comes to this. The funny thing is, when you are not allowed to do something, then it's really hard for you. But I don't know really why. It's a question of psychology. But when everyone is not allowed to do something, the pain is not that bad anymore.
well, then people start complaining, but you don't seem to be a complainer. You seem to be a positive person. So it's okay. It's good.
I never complain because... you are you, I am I, and it makes no sense to complain. It makes no sense to compare. Everyone has his life. Everyone has his perspective. So it would be nonsense to complain and to compare.
Makes no sense complaining.
No.
So maybe talk a little bit about the music industry. Some see it as a happy place. Some see it as an evil place. Does it still hold secrets for you?
Yes, I'm in the music business already for a pretty long time, but it always holds secrets for me because behind the business there are individuals, there are people you get to know, there are new people, or there are guys, artists, business people you haven't met before. And this is what I really like about this business. I don't see this business at all as evil, because a business is a business, and we are human beings. And of course you have people who are maybe sometimes not nice, and you have nice people. And the majority of the people I met, they are nice people. So I like the business. I love what we are doing, because it's not only making and performing music, it's also getting to know soulmates all over the world who love electronic dance music as well, and you can share this. So you arrive somewhere with your plane, with a plane, and somebody picks you up you never met before, and you sit in the car and you talk about the weather, and then you talk about the music, and all of a sudden you have a common ground, although you have never seen this person before. And this is an aspect I really love, because then this anonymous feel is away.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Music unites.
Absolutely. We have such a great job. It's doesn't matter if you're a journalist, artist, A&R manager, club organizer, promoter, even the dancer. The dancer is the happiest person, because the dancer can just relax and dance. But it's good.
Yeah, it's true. As you mentioned, you've been in the industry for quite a long time. We're both a bit gray. But for most artists, let's talk about originality. First, it's preceded by a phase of learning while you go a long way. So you've been learning a long time already. It's gone through a phase of learning and emulating. How was it like for you? How do you approach the learning phase? How do you take on still the lifelong learning?
Well, as you mentioned already, when you have a career,
yes,
it's like a path. Let's say from Germany to Antwerp, there's a road you have to go. And it's different phases, of course, you are going. And when you walk on phase number 1, you have no idea what is expecting you at phase 3, 4, 5, 6. And I mean, I have to start in the beginning of my career, because the music which really fascinated me was acid house, Chicago house, and techno house on labels like +8, R&S Records, and Underground Resistance. And what I really loved about all these releases was not so much the danceability. For me, it was more about the alien sounds. So all of a sudden, I could buy records which contained crazy alien-esque sounds I have never heard in my life before, because I knew rock and roll, pop music, jazz, the usual suspects which are around all the time. But all of a sudden, there were records out where I thought, holy crap, who made this music? Is it somebody from Saturn or from Mercury or from Mars? I couldn't believe what I heard. I will never forget the first Acid House compilation I bought. It was like, what the hell is going on here? And this was the first my Blaupause where I started to be interested also in making music. And then I produced my first tracks, and then you start with the business, and then you go step by step by step. And if you want to reach something in this business, or if you want to distribute your records in the music business, then you have to meet people, you have to go out of your house and visit distributors, record labels, DJs. And this was always something I loved so much. I love to meet people.
You love to meet people, but we live in a digital age. Like, things go super fast these days. Everybody's using his phone, computer. And I know quite some artists that hardly leave their house. So how is it for you? Do you still love to go out, meet people? What's the approach there?
Yeah. For me, life is always plus and minus, yin and yang, black and white, and so on. I love to sit in the studio on my own and to work on music, but I also love to meet people. I love to get to know people, and I also love to perform my music in front of, let's say, 500 people, This is also a nice aspect. So for me, life is not only one shade that you say, oh, I'm that type of guy who loves to stay at home, or oh, I'm that type of guy who loves to travel. For me, it's everything, and that's life. So, and this is something I really like. It's a nice aspect, and once again, meeting people is, I think, the essence of life.
Maybe back
especially now during the, sorry to interrupt you, especially now during the pandemic, we really can feel it. Also, by the way, not only meeting friends, also meeting anonymous friends. Because when you enter a club and there are 300 people, you probably know 10 of them. And
yes.
The other 290 are anonymous. But they like the same music, so you have something in common. How great is that?
Yes, and the other 200, they will become friends at the end of the evening.
Exactly.
Probably.
Well,
maybe it's always nice. Maybe back to the learning phase. I saw a picture of your new studio with all the nice equipment. Whenever you add new equipment, how does it work for you? How do you approach? Is it like candy? You go to it, play with it all night. How do you learn to play it? How do you incorporate it in your new music? How does it work for you?
Yeah, it's a bit like the kid in the candy store. So there are an endless number of great machines you can buy, also digitally, not only as outboard. And yeah, sky's the limit. There are so many. Only when you take the digital options, there are so many that you and we would need another 10 lives in order to explore all these machines. And yeah, once more, how great is that you have so much choice, that you can try out so many things. The funny thing is, you are not the first journalist who's asking me also with regard to music, which is offered on Beatport and in the DJ scene. And a question is sometimes, but it's too much. What do you think about that? I see it the other way around. Where's the problem that there's an endless amount of music? I mean, you and we still have the choice to choose what we like and what we want. Yeah, maybe it takes a bit more time to find the music you love. But how great is the aspect that everyone can make music? Because when I started to make music, equipment was still pretty expensive. And 10 years before I started, it was not affordable. I mean, for a sampler, you had to pay 100,000 euros from the value of today. Who could have made electronic music? So it's an aspect I really like. I mean, you have to invest more time into finding your stuff. But on the other hand, the potential of creativity is much, much, much bigger than before.
Well, then, in this nice-looking studio of yours, it's filled with equipment. Which is your favorite one?
I always say, for fun, if I have to sell all my equipment, the Minimoog would be the last one I would sell. And even then, I would not sell it and just eat spaghetti.
Okay.
Because it's a very simple machine. It's the tracks I made, especially between 2004 and 2007. The Minimoog has a main role in many tracks. I like the let's call it fatness, and also how versatile this machine is, and it's pretty easy to play because you have this panel, and you don't need to be a rocket scientist.
It looks really nice. I saw the pictures with the nice backlights, and it seems to be it seems to be like that. The cleaning lady has passed by in the pictures, of course. There isn't any mess. But what non-music related item in your studio do you love the most?
Oh, let me have a look. I forgot. It's a bit dark.
You don't see any mess in the studio on the picture, so.
No, I'm that type of guy. There are only two types of guys. The one group is always tidy, and the other group is always
a mess.
Always a big mess. But
and you are?
Yeah, you can see it here, right? I need structure. At some point, I found out that a mess is just stopping me in my creative process. So I need a flow. And here everything is connected. So every machine I see here, I can instantly play. Because when you are in a groove and you want to play something and you have to connect cables and you have to find cables first, then for me personally, the fun has disappeared. So I definitely need to structure. So you mean a non-musical item?
Yeah, a non-musical item. Something you're attached to. But as you are structured and there's no mess, maybe it's the lightning.
Yeah, maybe it's the lightning. So yeah, this here is fun. A disc. Here. Yeah, here. Look, this is nice here. It's not really musical. It's speak and spell, you know that?
Yeah. Do you use it to make sounds?
Yeah, you can experiment with it. It's actually a toy.
Yeah.
From Texas Instruments from the late 70s. And I have a special edition from Fast Matt. It's a guy who made a circuit band version of it so that you can squeeze out crazy sounds of this machine. And it's rather a toy than a musical instrument. Yeah, and of course the reel-to-reel here.
Oh.
This is also to experiment with masters. Yeah. If you want to have a bit more saturation or a bit more analog feel. But of course you can also use it for listening to music.
Well, I see you walking in and out of the studio. Is this how it works for you? You wake up in the morning, or you just have an idea, you walk in the studio, start experimenting, and then go with the flow?
Every day is different. To be honest, during the last 2 months, I haven't started any new track because I had to finish a few tracks, I had to master a few tracks, I had to review a few tracks, I had to do a lot of label work, and you need this certain moment where you start something new. And for me, it's something more rare and precious. I'm not the type of guy who leaves the studio every night with 3 ideas. So every day is different, really. So you cannot really say, oh, my standard day is at 10, I twiddle the 303. At 12, I program my kick drum. At 2, I program the groove of the hi-hats. So every day is different, and there are some days where I just let it go, where I sometimes leave the place and I haven't even played one note.
So since you're talking about not finishing too many tracks, let's talk about the nice EP. I think one of the tracks, Empathy, sounds really nice. And then the other track, Blutner.
Yes.
It sounds a bit different. Maybe talk about it. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's always a bit difficult to talk about music, but
I know.
Empathy.
It's nice melodic. When I played it the first time, I was like, wow, this is going to be such a summer groove. People hands up in the air. it's typical your sound, I believe. And Blüthner is a little bit different. It's slightly different approach. But as you mentioned earlier, it's named after a piano. Maybe that's why.
To start with Empathy, I'm very proud and happy about this track. When you think that your track is like your child, then it would be a child I'm very happy about. And the main idea was happened. I programmed the groove, and this is really untypical for me. On a flight to Houston. So I usually never make music on the plane, and don't ask me why, but at this flight I did it.
And it was this track?
Yeah, it was, let's say, the basics. So yes. The groove, because the bass is played with a mini Moog, and the piano was not available on the plane as well. But the basic idea happened on the flight Frankfurt-Houston with Lufthansa. and then I was really, because I was proceeding to El Paso, Texas, a great party place in Texas where they have a really crazy club crowd, and maybe it was a bit the inspiration, because I was really looking forward to this show. And empathy is a word which I always loved a lot, and I think it's important in life, because without empathy we would not be social people, social human beings. So I wanted to produce something like an homage to empathetic people. Yeah, and Blüthner is the flip side. It's more an homage to this piano I talked about before, from this Eastern German company, which, as I mentioned before, went already to fairs around 1880. Once again, I have no idea how they made it, how they transported the piano from Eastern Germany to Australia. Maybe there's a movie about this one day. I don't know.
Maybe yes. Maybe yes.
And Blüthner is also not that typical. I play a piano melody track. So Blüthner is, as you can hear in the beginning, at the end, more about experimenting with sounds. So you take a coin and then you go over the strings, ring, ring. So that was a bit the intention of this track.
Well, it's a nice track, and Empathy is really, really a name worth it, because I love it. I really love it.
It deserves the name, I would say.
Yeah, it deserves the name, really deserves the name. Oh, well, you mentioned it before in the interview. There's so much music being released, and according to you, it does not harm to release that much music, because there's so much to discover. But how do you stay on top of the noise? How do you promote yourself, even with the label? Because on a daily basis on Spotify, for example, it's like thousands of tracks.
First of all, I recommend not to look on Spotify exclusively, not as an artist and not as a consumer, because there are so many ways to find music, or also to distribute music. When it comes to distributing music, I really re-explored producing physical sound carriers like vinyl. And I released an album in 2017, which is called Voyage à la Planète. And I'm currently producing audio cassettes, a little edition. But I never, in all my life, I never had a cassette release. And this was a dream I wanted to make, I wanted to become true. And physical sound carriers. I mean, my good friend Andre, who works at the Compact Record Store, He recommends me great records from time to time. I just recently bought this 5 LP box of Robert Johnson, which is over there on the board. A very nice package, very expensive production with booklets and great artwork. And this is something Spotify cannot offer me. And I can just recommend okay, we can listen to Spotify, but I can recommend to try out the vinyl, because it's something different to have a product in your hand or to put a record on the needle. I'm not that type of guy who says vinyl, nothing else. Not at all. I always go with the flow. I go with the development, but I kind of re-explored my love to let's say vinyl releases made with love.
Yeah, vinyl is nice, and compact store is also nice. When I used to go there, I'm always broke when I come out. It's such a nice store. But when you talk about cassettes, it's going to be for a very small audience.
Yeah.
I still have a box full of cassettes, but I don't have a player anymore.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, it will never become very big, but there is a movement in Germany. And I just saw a documentary from Bavaria that all the prices for Walkman, for high-grade cassette decks like Nakamichi or Hamon-Kardon, or even empty audio cassettes, all these prices are going like this at the moment. So they are really going up because, that's a typical development. The kids don't know this stuff, so they want to explore it. And also older people who maybe listen or maybe use Apple Music or Spotify, they say, hey, wait a minute, there was a different way of consuming music. So, of course, the cassette is never becoming a big thing anymore. But
No.
For me, it was like a little dream for my childhood to have one cassette of myself.
Yeah, but it's nice. Here in Antwerp, we have, if I believe, at least one record label that releases only on cassettes. I forgot the name. I should look it up, but it's courageous.
That's funny. 2 years ago, I was in Los Angeles, and there was this one record store which closed last year. I forgot the name, but a huge record store with different floors. And then I entered this department, and it was just boom, just cassettes in this room. I was like, holy shit, where do they have all this audio tapes from? And this was also inspiring. And I walked out with 10 cassettes from, I don't know, different artists. So it was something inspiring. And let's see how it goes. Maybe I sell.
But also,
10 or 20.
Also living the life with cassettes and vinyls, you don't have this button next or back. You have to go slow, sit down, relax, and actually really listen to the music. So good thing.
Absolutely.
So that was about it. So I thank you.